Hello and welcome to Sports Fan Entertainment. 32 teams, 32 days, and today we're talking about the Oakland Raiders, and what a team to talk about today. We have more Oakland Raider drama lately today. Antonio Brown saying he is threatening retiring from the NFL. He's apparently this close to being done. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. And then we've also had Hard Knocks beginning this week. More drama surrounding the Oakland Raiders. Let's get this video over with. Let's start by talking about their strengths. And let's start on a positive note. We're going to talk about their safeties. I love the safeties in Oakland. Now, I'm not quite sure why they dedicated yet another pick in order to improve this positional group, but whatever. Okay, so we've had LaMarcus Joyner, who has played a lot of free safety, and it sounds like they're going to play him a lot more at slot corner, but I'm going to list them under safeties today. So LaMarcus Joyner at the safety position, Carl Joseph, the former first-round pick, and then adding in Jonathan Abram as well. Now, I wouldn't have done it because I think that's beating a dead horse, but it will allow them to be able to bring down LaMarcus Joyner and even bring down Carl Joseph more often. They can get creative. They could even run 3 safety sets. So I understand it, and hell, it makes the positional group very strong, and again, a strength for this team. I love the safeties in Oakland. I'm also going to list the quarterback position. Now, let me be clear. When I'm giving my strengths for each team, it's on a team-by-team basis. It's a little bit relative to the NFL, but it's more so relative to the team. I think Derek Carr is a strength for this team. I don't think he wouldn't be a strength for, let's say, like the Philadelphia Eagles, but I think he's definitely a strength for this team. He's one positional unit that you can look at and you say, okay, we know what we're getting from that unit. And then also you consider what he provides you in terms of in the locker room, off the field, in the community. This is a guy that the football team revolves around, believes in, and wants to play hard for, and the fans want to support. So I think for this football team, I think Derek Carr is a strength, and a lot of people question whether or not he's a franchise quarterback. I do think that he is. I just think the level of talent around him last year was not where he needed to be. And look, we saw him, he himself went 12-3 in that 15 or 16 season, maybe even 17. And then he got injured, and then we never saw what was going to happen. He may even won MVP that season. So we know he can play at the highest of levels. We just have to get him that offensive personnel. With that said, though, we have to move on to the weaknesses, and the weaknesses are aplenty. Okay, we're going to start with the running back position. We have to see. Okay, Josh Jacobs could come in and do very well. We'll have to see. Again, I was very okay on Josh Jacobs. I would not have taken him in the first round. I did not think he was a first round talent. I thought he was a second round talent. And we'll see what kind of impact he's going to have. But outside of him, Isaiah Crowell, Achilles injury, out for the year. We can't rely upon him. Doug Martin. Who are we talking about? I mean, this guy year to year has been inconsistent, and lately he's just been consistently off or just not even on the field. So Doug Martin is nearing the end of his career. The running back position, until Josh Jacobs proves that he's #1 in NFL running back and a good NFL running back, it's a weakness for the football team. Cornerback position. I know we drafted Trayvon Mullen, and we're expecting big things from him, but outside of that, I don't like what I see. Gary Conley, you know, we had the shaky start to his NFL career, and last season he just didn't play that well. Didn't play that poorly, but didn't play particularly well. Daryl Worley, not a good player at this point. The Carolina Panthers really wish that he was for them. He wasn't. They let him go. He's now an Oakland Raider. Nevin Lawson, not a good cornerback in this league right now. And then we'll see if Trayvon Mullen can help out this unit. There's some promise here, but not enough. It's a weakness for me. Linebackers. Look, I love Vontaze Burfict, but he's a clown. Okay, he's a buffoon. He's a hard-hitting buffoon, but he's a buffoon. Can we rely upon this guy to play 16 games, to be on the football field consistently for us to do the things necessary on a play-to-play, week-to-week, year-to-year basis? We have not seen that from him up until this point. You know, especially just when it comes to his characters. Play on the football field has always been great, except for last year it wasn't where it needed to be. But, you know, that's because there's so many distractions, and those distractions, they appear to have left, but we haven't proven that yet. So again, I don't have much faith there. Brandon Marshall has now had 2 back-to-back disappointing years for a guy that had such a promising career at linebacker. And then Tahir Whitehead, I'm over Tahir Whitehead at this point. He racks up a lot of tackles for this Raider football team, but he's never been anything more than mediocre. The linebackers are yet another weakness for this football team. And make no doubt about it, if Antonio Brown retires, which again, I don't think that he will, if he does, the wide receivers will definitely be a weakness as well, but I don't think that he will. We move on to the statistical projections for the Oakland Raiders. Quarterback Derek Carr. I think he improves upon last season for the most part. Okay, I'm giving him 4,200 passing yards, so more yards than last season, 23 touchdowns, more touchdowns than last season, 12 interceptions, a couple more picks, and an 88.0 pass rating. I think this is slightly higher than last season, maybe slightly lower. It's about the same thing. He'll be okay. He'll be more of the same, but I still don't think the offensive personnel is quite good enough. Running back Josh Jacobs, I think he's actually going to do all right. Maybe even pretty good, you'll say. 200 carries, 900 yards, and 5 touchdowns. So this is 4.5 yards per carry. I think this offensive line is actually going to be pretty good in terms of run blocking. I think Josh Jacobs will find success. I think John Gruden will insist on giving Doug Martin more carries than he deserves, and Jalen Richard is going to get involved as well. So, expect for Josh Jacobs to be under, I think, 250 carries, but he can maybe get 225, 230, and he may end up with over 1,000 yards. So look out for that possibility. And then wide receiver Antonio Brown, 110 catches, 1,350 yards, and 9 touchdowns. So more of the same from Antonio Brown. I'm expecting a 16-game slate. And with that said, let's go and transition to my bold predictions. Bold prediction number 1, Antonio Brown will play week 1. If he doesn't, then I don't know what to say. What a horrible end to a great career. But I mean, this guy is nuts. He's insane. Like, at first I thought he was posturing. At first I thought he was playing, as a lot of us would say, but no, this guy is just really out of his mind. This just proves we need some mental health institutions and some mental health checks, not only in this league, but in the entire United States and the world, because this guy's lost his mind. I don't know what's going on with this guy in his personal life, but he's done. He's finished. For such a humble guy from humble beginnings, now he's saying he's going to quit the NFL because they won't let him wear his stupid helmet. And actually, they're trying to protect him because the helmet that he wants to wear has less safety than the helmet that the helmets that they're prescribing. So they're trying to help this guy in terms of his longevity, in terms of him being able to protect himself from CTE and concussions and all of this nonsense. And he wants to have better vision. And actually, that's even questionable whether or not the helmet that he wants actually provides that kind of vision. It's just a level of comfort that he wants. So we're gonna see, but I think he's gonna play, and I don't think he's gonna shut up. I think we're gonna hear more from Antonio Brown. I think it's gonna continue to be an issue and a distraction for the Oakland Raiders. Randy Moss was never this bad. This is bad right now with Antonio Brown. Bold prediction number 2. Maurice Hurst will challenge for the Pro Bowl. Okay, he will challenge. We'll see whether or not he can make it. It's going to be hard to make it. I think last year there were only 3 defensive tackles that made it. And then none of them actually made the Super Bowl, so all of them played. So we have to see. But I think he's a really promising player. 4 sacks last season. I loved him coming out of Michigan, and you saw him really burst onto the scene last season. I expect more of the same from him, and he will challenge for the Pro Bowl. And then bold prediction number 3. Look, I'm sorry, Raider fans. You barely improved upon last year, if at all. The Raiders had the 2nd worst point differential in the league last season. The 3rd worst, I believe, were 70 more points ahead than the Oakland Raiders. They won 4 games last year. One was a 45-42 overtime game. One was like a 2-point victory. Another was a 3-point victory. Then one was a 13-point victory. Now, they have some close losses as well. But I just saw a lot of close wins that they got. They caught some teams when the Browns weren't at their full potential yet, and the Steelers really didn't care. I mean, they cared, but I don't know. They just caught the Steelers, and they beat the Broncos, but that's not really impressive. And I just look around. Let's just look at the AFC. Forget about the NFL. Let's just look at the AFC. I mean, which teams are we just 100% sure that the Raiders are better than right now in the AFC? 1, Miami Dolphins. That's it. And Miami Dolphins fans will argue that. And Miami Dolphins fans are going to be on this video saying, no, we're better than the Oakland Raiders. Are you nuts? Maybe the Bengals. I might grant you the Cincinnati Bengals. But that's it. I mean, I think you're in line with the Bengals and the Dolphins. To me, I think the Bills are better. I think the Titans and the Jags are better. And the Texans are better. I think that the Broncos are better than you. And forget about the Chiefs and the Chargers and the Patriots and the Ravens and the Steelers and all them. Because the Colts, we already know about that. So when you're at the bottom of the AFC, and I think we can hopefully all agree you guys are in the bottom 5 teams in the AFC, that puts you up for this range of options as we get into the win-loss prediction. Best case scenario, okay, I'm wrong. Cleveland Farrell shows up. He gets like 8+ sacks, let's say 6 or 7 or 8+ sacks this season. You also see Arden Key. He develops into the beast. He looked like he could have been at LSU. Maurice Hurst makes the Pro Bowl like I thought he could. Jonathan Abram is like a Pro Bowl type safety. Antonio Brown plays and he shuts up. Derek Carr returns to MVP form, and they still only go 8-8 because it's still, the schedule is difficult. All 3 teams on AFC West, even under this scenario, are just as good as you. At the very worst, they're as good as you. Even the Denver Broncos, I'm sorry. And I just say 8-8 best case scenario. I just don't think this team's going to compete for the playoffs. I know some people believe that. I don't see that. Worst case scenario, 3-13. It could be worse than last year. It could. And I know a lot of people don't believe that, but the fact that you guys have won 4 games last year was actually quite shocking. I thought it could and should have been 2 or 3 games won last year. I really do believe that. In my prediction, I'm sorry, Raider fans, but I have to give you 5-11. And I really wanted to go 4-12 again, to be quite honest with you. But I decided to be nice and give you one more win. I probably shouldn't have, to be quite honest with you. But that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to give you 5-11. I think this Antonio Brown nonsense, and Gruden doesn't look like he has it anymore. And I like the signing of Mike Mayock, and I think he's done some good things here. But it's just too much drama. There's still too many weaknesses, too many question marks, and we're depending a lot on young players. And if they show up and they play well, then okay, we'll have a different conversation. But right now, it's 5-11 for these Oakland Raiders. So with that said, those are my thoughts on the Oakland Raiders. What are your thoughts? Comment down below. I want to know. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, and most importantly, to subscribe. And until next time, this has been MJ of Sports Fan Entertainment, and I'm out. See you all later.